Well, I don't know. Don't you have to score to win?
That'd be good.
I mean, how many games? Maybe you can win 3-2, but if you're only scoring 3 points, you have to score, and nothing to write home about because our defense now great goal line stance. When you look at that was monumental. But when we get a great goal line stance, then we get a pick six.
Give them a short field.
You take one step forward, 2 steps back, and all of a sudden you're losing 7-0. So it's just a lot of undisciplined. We have 8 penalties. We have still stupid penalties. We don't know how to line up. We in the NFL, we pros. They've been practice, OTAs, mini camp, training camp. You look alignment. It's amazing, and it's so frustrating when you get to that point. But the bottom line, come on. We could still be +1 and +2 might not win a game, but you -3. How many games are you going to win when you lose the turnover margin like that? And, as of late, this is not an opinion, the Bucs have had our number. The Bucs team has now won 6 of the past 7 meetings. Are we as good as the Bucs? I don't think so, as of late. When you look at that, and when I do my math on that, but the bottom line is that, and the Superdome has not been our best friend. The Bucs have now won 4 of their last contests played in the Superdome. I still think we're going to beat Tampa Bay. We always play Tampa better in Tampa than the Superdome. I just have
keeping the faith.
Yeah, it's like when we beat Tom Brady 9-0 one time in Tampa. You remember Taysom Hill turning around the game when he blocked that punt in Tampa. So for some reason, I don't know, we don't play the Bucs, good in the Superdome. It's just a track record. We played a lot of games, since 1977. We've met. We have 40 wins, and now we have 27 losses. But the Bucs overall, out of all the NFL teams we played, we have the best winning percentage against an opponent. We had a way big lead, but not as much as of late when you see what's occurred there. But when you look at it, -3 now in the turnover margin in the game. We -2 for the season. It wasn't that long ago. Remember, we were +5. Remember 5 straight possessions we got to take away against the Giants? We were +5.
Riding high.
And it wasn't that long ago, and now we -3. I mean, or -2 for the season. So, but you look at the magic number, truly is like 4. Right now, what do you mean, Bobby? Well, we had 4 turnovers today, and we had 4 turnovers against the Bears. So, I don't know. Are we going to have 4 turnovers against the Rams? Well, I can tell you, you're going to get shellacked. We're not going to have a fighting chance if you have that. Now, when you look at this, what can we hang our hat on now as a Saints fan? There is no aspect of the game at which right now they truly excel. You think maybe in training camp, groupie, I tell you what, our kicker, he don't miss. And he made a kick today. I'm glad he made it where, we got 3 points. But there's nothing really, what do we excel at right now? Nothing to hang our hats on. When the going gets tough, I don't know, it seems like what can't go wrong will go wrong. When you have something like positive go, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But look where we at offensively. And we are struggling. This is going into the game, and we didn't do any help ourselves. 24th in the league in total offense, 29th in scoring offense. Well,
that's going to drop.
Yes. So you got to score points. 19 in total defense, kind of middle pack, and then 27 scoring defense. So you look at scoring offense and defense, none to write home about. And then you look, we just in the bottom half of the league in almost every other major situational category, whether it be third down, goal line, red zone, whatever, it might be. And you look, I had thought, I didn't think this would be a good run. Like, I thought best case scenario coming to the game, I thought we would be, instead of 1-6, best case, like 3-4. Okay, so you look 3-4. I didn't think that we'd beat Tampa Bay once, but I didn't necessarily think at home. So I thought we realistically, let's say if we're winning, we'd have lost today, so that'd be 3-5, 3-6. So after the Rams, is that 10 games? So we'd be like 3-7. So when I look at that, the outcome on that, here, because the Tampa Bay is a Super Bowl contender in the NFC like the Rams. And that's what we have on deck. So I think we're going to be 1-8. It just is what it is. I mean, I truly look at that, and which would be, okay, we playing like young players, we all be trending in the right direction. If we're 1-8, that would be the Saints organization, the franchise, second worst start in franchise history. Whoa. Second worst start?
Let me guess, we got to go back to the Ditka days?
1-8. I don't know when it is. I know it's the second worst start in franchise history.
Okay.
I think Jeff Duncan had put that out there, 1-8. And that's a strong possibility. Now, it would be interesting to see. We go at Carolina. But if you even look what occurred in like the Bears game, this is why I'm talking about like 4 turnovers. The Saints entered the Bears game even last week as, we're all injured. We're not healthy. That's why, look, Tampa Bay, who's more beat up than Tampa Bay and the 49ers? And they're winning. But the Saints entered the Bears game as one of the healthiest and, least mistake-prone teams. We were not turning over the football, if you remember. Now, as of late, yes, we have. But we were one of the most least mistake-prone teams in the league. And we had committed just 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers going in the Bears games. And now the last 2 games, we have 8. We got 4 against the Bears and 4 today against the Bucs. Well, obviously, that's not winning football. And we definitely not good enough where you end up winning games, or you're not even going to be highly competitive or have a chance to win. Like I said, right now we're -3 in the turnover margin in the game, -2 for the season. I don't know. You'll never win. I'm not saying not never. That's not too strong a word. But you have 51 passing attempts. What that means, you're playing catch-up. And the NFL's too good. You're not going to do anything. And to me, I'm asking Kellen Moore this on the coaches show. The game was still close, but why am we not attempting to run the football? It's because we can't run. You still got to attempt to run the football to help out the young quarterbacks. We only ended up with 15 rushing attempts. Now, you look at Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. We are targeting them. They had 24 targets, and that's a lot. That's almost like 2 games worth. So Rashid Shaheed had 12 targets. He had 9 receptions. Olave, 12 targets, 8 receptions. But Rashid only averaged the speeds to only 8.3 yards a catch. And then Chris Olave, 7.9 yards. So, come on. You want to talk about chunk plays, explosive plays? No, we had, I think, 1 pass play to Olave. Was it 23 yards? I want to say
28.
That was 28. That was over 20 yards.
Yeah.
We just don't have any of those, and it's just so frustrating. The bright spot where I thought the crowd was into the game. And
crowd?
Yeah, there wasn't no damn 70,000 at the game. When they say 70,000, I thought I was watching a damn preseason game. I don't know. I'm telling you the truth. If you look at who was in the stands, there was a lot of frustrated empty seats. It kind of looked like the LSU game in the middle of the third quarter.
Hey.
When maybe not that bad when the fans are leaving. But if I look at something to cheer for, and this was outstanding, our goal line stands. I mean, when you look when that occurred, it's 0-0. We having a goal. I don't know if I haven't seen a goal line that stance like that in a long time. And to show you that the Bucs was so arrogant that they were just running the same play right up the middle. We're going to score. We're going to score. Remember, they had 5 attempts because remember they took the penalty.
Right.
3rd and goal. I mean, it wasn't even a half a yard. At times it was like half a yard, a foot, and then it was 4th and goal. Stuff like 5 straight plays, 0 yards, and then y'all fired up. And, we were -1 in the turnover margin at that point because remember, and I'm going to get back to that when Rattler fumbled. You got to protect that football. He gained 7 yards, but then he got it punched out. But then when I said, oh, man, we all backed up. I hope we don't get a safety. I was thinking, I hope they don't get us for a safety. Then we're losing 2-0.
But wait, it gets worse.
But wait, No, it got good, no. Rattler hit Camaro plus 9 yards. So we not backed up. And then the next play, Rattler batted pass interception by Anthony Nelson.
Right, as you would say, not so fast.
Yeah, pick 6, and we're losing 7-0. So it just seems like we turn a great thing into how in the hell we losing. 7-0. So when that happened, we ended up being -2 in the turnover margin. Now, I don't even know who that cat is. I think he's like a 7-year veteran, but he's not a household name for the Bucs. That Nelson guy, I want to say he's from University of Iowa. He ended up having 4 tackles, but 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hurries, 2 tackles for loss, an interception, and a forced fumble. It was kind of like Chase Young plus. You know how you gave the game ball to, but he's on the winning end. So when I saw that, I said, I don't know. It just seems like the ball is not bouncing our way.
And Nelson was in for an injured Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick is the household name that normally would be playing. So it shows you the depth there with this guy Nelson. I think that Nelson definitely earned more playing time. Now, I looked at this, and people are going to ask, what does Coach Moore do going forward with the quarterback? I was somewhat surprised. I had thought they might wait, not necessarily at L.A. against the Rams, but more on the road at Carolina to put Shuck to start the game. But now he's gotten wet behind he's behind the ears. He's like, okay, I've had an opportunity now to play. And, if you look at it, he was warming up in the middle of the third quarter. And I was like, whoa, he's taking snaps and he's warming up like, you don't warm up like that in the sideline unless you're going in. Well, he went in with 3 minutes and 57 seconds left in the third quarter. But if you look at it, and, you got to protect the football. And I think that's why Coach Moore said we needed a spark, because when you look at Spencer Rattler and in his last 6 quarters, and look how well he's protecting the ball, but it's a long season. He now has 4 interceptions and 2 fumbles lost in his last 6 quarters, and he was sacked 6 times. And then just as a team, I'm telling you, we might not win another game. If we do this, 8 turnovers in 7 quarters. So if that trend continues against the Rams, and even at the road in Carolina, you ain't winning. We need to have a Giants-type game to have a chance to win, where we protecting the football and we taking it away. And still, the Giants game, did we blow out the Giants? No. We were +5. That should have been a 3-touchdown win. But it doesn't matter as long as you win. A win is a win. But it's very humbling. We're all excited. We're starting division play. First division game. Boy, can you maybe get off to a right foot and be 1-0 in the NFC South, even though we have 2 wins? But not so fast. Tampa Bay don't look invincible. You could see how they play for Todd Bowles, how they're a Todd Bowles coach team, how they create turnovers. Look, 23-3. No, the game was not close when you look at that. And when you look, how about this cat? And the Bucs paid him. He's from the Woodlands, right out of Houston. My brother lives over there. And Antoine Winfield went to University of Minnesota. They paid him. That dude is a ball hawk. You know why he's a thorn in the Saints' side? Remember the damn playoff game when Jerry Cook got stripped? And we lost the game? Well, guess who did it? Guess what he did to Chris Olave? Fumble recovered strip. That was Antoine Winfield. Now, when you look at, before we go to break, this is why it's so frustrating at times to be a local fan. You got a little optimism with Tulane, but what Tulane's going to do against Memphis? Okay, we have to wait and see, because they're still in the playoff hunt. I know who's not in the playoff hunt, that being the LSU not fighting Tigers. I'd have to say.
The Sleeping Tigers.
Yeah, the Sleeping Tigers, or the LSU Pussycats. I mean, whatever. You want to give the fans hope. And between the Saints and LSU, you're miserable right now. And to show you how quickly things could change, that wasn't that long ago. I remember last year. Remember after 2 games, man, we waxed the Carolina Panthers. Remember that? We crushed them.
Sure.
Then all of a sudden, we crushed the Cowgirls. We were the #1 scoring offense in the league. Then Philadelphia comes to town, and, we still had a great opportunity to win that. You look what occurred at the end of that game. That's when McCoy went out, and then all of a sudden, look how the season fell apart.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look at LSU this year. Now, to show you that I don't really know what the hell I'm talking about, like a number of experts don't know. Okay, we waxed Clemson Tigers. We whipped Clemson. I said, man, Even if they only had 4 teams in the playoffs, we'd be in the playoffs. We don't need 12. And look how far where LSU's at right now. And, with Coach Kelly, much is given, much is required. He's talking smack, after they beat Oklahoma last year, remember? And then all he said, I'm taking receipts. I'll see you in the Natty. You going to buy a ticket to go to the national championship? No, it is very frustrating right now for the local fans. There's no fight in the Tigers, and there's so inconsistent fight from the Saints right now.